Alright guys, we're going to do something a little different this week. We are going to create a fall scene. We're going to draw some pumpkins in a pumpkin patch, and we're going to add a whole bunch of fun details in it, and we're going to hide pictures inside of our picture. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Where's Waldo, or seen pages that have a ton of details drawn in them, and they have these nice big rectangular boxes on the side or on the bottom, and inside of them are a whole bunch of pictures that you have to find inside of the picture that is on the paper. So right here on this rectangle right here, that is where I'm going to put all of the pictures that I am hiding in the picture that I'm going to draw. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to draw a landscape, and we're going to actually draw a pumpkin patch. We might throw a couple of other gardening things in there too. So to start this off, the first thing I did is I drew my rectangle over here that I'm going to put my pictures in that I'm going to hide after I've hidden them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a wavy line starting about a third of the way down. If you want to measure, an easy way to measure is you can use your 4 fingers right here on the top of the paper, and I'm going to put my pencil right under there, and I'm going to just draw a little bit of a wavy line right there, just like that. All right? If you need to erase a little bit, you can. No big deal. And I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to make it a little bit diagonal too. So I'm only going to do 2 fingers this time right under that line I just drew, and I'm going to have my line go down diagonally just a little bit, just like that. See that? So this is kind of like a little bit of a hilly line. We live here in East Tennessee, so we live on the edge in the valleys of the Smoky Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains. So we're going to definitely try to make it look like we have a little bit of some valleys and some peaks. So once I have that done, I'm pretty much set. Now over here I have a nice big amount of space. So this is where I'm going to draw my first pumpkin, because that way I have a lot of space to draw, and I'm going to use ovals. Ovals are kind of like flat circles. Since I'm drawing these ovals tall, they're not really going to look like pancakes or cookies. If I was drawing them sideways, they would look like pancakes or cookies, but they will not today. So we're going to draw one big oval right here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because we are drawing pumpkins, and pumpkins grow out in nature, so they're going to be bumpy and they're going to look a little funny and be uneven, and that's perfectly normal. So once I have this oval drawn, I'm going to draw a letter C, and this one is going to be backwards. Start here on the right at the top of the oval, and I'm going to draw a backwards letter C, down, 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 and I'm going to connect it there at the bottom of the oval on the right. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the left. I'm going to start up here at the top of the left, and this is going to be a forward letter Z. Now this is a very skinny C. It's not deep. It's okay. It doesn't have to be. If it is, that's also okay, because remember, it's our pumpkin. And our pumpkin is going to look a little bit different. It's not supposed to be perfect. It grows in nature. So I'm going to repeat these 2 steps one more time on both sides. So I'm going to do another letter C right here. And this one is a little bit smaller and a little bit skinnier than the one before it. See that? And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. This one I'm going to start a little bit higher, and I'm going to end it a little bit higher. Just like that. So it almost looks like a parentheses. And then here, I'm going to draw the stem for my pumpkin. I'm going to draw a curved line. And I'm going to draw another curved line over here. I'm going to start right here by this last C that I drew. And then I'm going to draw a little oval right here on the top of the stem. See that? Now I am going to draw, because the stem is actually, it's a part of the vine that actually the pumpkin grows on a vine. So I'm going to draw some circles inside of it so you can see where it's kind of been trimmed off a little bit. And I'm going to draw a couple of little squiggly lines in here to create a little bit of texture for the stem of that pumpkin. The great thing, and one of the reasons why we're adding details, is because remember, we're going to have pictures hiding. So the more details we have here in this picture, the longer it's going to take anybody who's looking at our picture to find all of the hidden pictures that we've put in here. All right, so here is one pumpkin. Now I'm also going to add a vine, because remember, pumpkins do grow off of the vine. Even though this one is sitting on its own, it does still have a little bit of a vine connected to it. These things, we had pumpkins growing in our garden this year, and they grow crazy. We had it planted in one garden bed, and it grew across 2 garden beds and landed on the opposite side of our 3rd garden bed. That's how wild this pumpkin grew. All right. So there is a vine, and I just used a squiggly wavy line to draw that vine, and I did a second one right next to it, and right here I crossed a little bit, and that's okay, you can do that. And then off of this vine I'm going to draw a couple of leaves. Now, one way that you can make a leaf is you can just do a really very simple heart shape, just like that. You can do with that heart shape, you can add little triangles on the outside edges to make it a little bit more detailed and to give it just a little bit more texture. This looks like it has a little bit of a spiky edge to it. I'm going to throw in another leaf over here. Now this is a fall scene, so there are many, many, many more things that we can add into this because it is outside. Pumpkin patches you would typically find at a farm. I wouldn't say we didn't have a pumpkin patch by any means. We just had a wild pumpkin growing in our garden, the one that grew, and you know, I don't even know what ended up happening to it. I think maybe the fox that roams our neighborhood got a hold of it. But you could grow pumpkins in your backyard. So you could add into this details of different things that you might have in your backyard in the fall or that you might see. So I'm going to add a little bit of a fence over here just because this is a really good spot for it. I'm going to build this fence up. And the fence is really easy because we're going to just use parallel lines. They're straight lines. They go up and down, so they're obviously vertical lines, and I put a lid on the top to close it off. I'm going to draw another one here. I draw all of my vertical lines first. All right, and I'm going to make some of my posts a little bit wider, a little bit thicker, some of them a little bit taller than others. The closer that the fence gets to me, the bigger the fence posts will get. And I'm going to go ahead and make this my last fence post because I do want to add other things into this picture and I don't want the fence posts to take up the whole thing. So to connect my fence posts, I'm going to just draw horizontal lines, lines that go side to side in between them. Really simply, just like that. Now here, this is obviously not going to be exactly straight because it is growing on a hill. So they are horizontal lines, but they're going to be at a little bit of an angle because this fence is not on flat ground. It's on a little bit of a hillside. All right. It's kind of cool, huh? All right, let me get these last two in here for you. Hopefully you can see them okay. The lighting isn't the best, but... And you know, if you end up with a little bit of a wavy line like that, it's okay. We are just going to have some fun here, creating our own hidden pictures. All right. So I have my fence. There we go. I have my pumpkin. All right, now, the other things I may want to add to this would be definitely some more pumpkins. So we're gonna get some more pumpkins in here. Let me see. Try to readjust my camera angle here a little bit. So I'm gonna throw some more pumpkins in here. I'm gonna put one right here. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with my first one. I'm gonna use my ovals and my C's. There we go. This one, I may have to erase part of this line here. So anytime you're drawing something, if you draw it in front of a line that you already have, then you just erase that line that you drew it in front of, because you don't need that line anymore, okay? And that's how you make it look like you have one thing in front of another thing. So here's another pumpkin. Another way that you can draw a pumpkin if you want to, just for fun, if you want to have a pumpkin on its side, you could draw one like, kind of like a circle. But it's not going to be a perfect circle because pumpkins have ridges and they're a little bit bumpy. So then you would draw the stem here. And you could just have this curved line here to show the bottom of the stem that's connected to the pumpkin, that gave the pumpkin life. And then you just draw those lines out. Kind of looks like a tomato too, honestly. So I definitely want to make sure that when I'm doing this, these edges are much bumpier than how I made them look to begin with. So then I just go back in and I just adjust it and fix it. No big deal. By using curved lines. Yeah, that's better. And then of course, if I actually add in some vines here to show it's still connected, that will help as well. Now, I don't know about you guys, but one of the things I love about the fall, and I especially really enjoy it out here in Tennessee because it takes so long to really get to fall, because I don't think we've technically had fall weather yet, or at least it hasn't felt like it, is sunflower fields. So I love going to farms that have huge sunflower fields. So that's definitely something else I could also add into this picture, which is going to give me more details, which is going to give me more places to hide pictures for everybody to find. So, as I draw, I try to come up with things to add to my picture. So what are some other things we would find if we were in a pumpkin patch? Would we maybe find a tractor back here? In the background, we might find a scarecrow we could draw. Scarecrows are pretty simple to draw. We'll use some really simple shapes and draw a scarecrow. How's that sound? Add a few more leaves here on this little pumpkin vine. All right, and I get one in here. So as you can see, I'm getting as many details in here as I can, because the more great details I have, the more awesome hiding places I have. So we'll go ahead and let's put a scarecrow right over here by this fence. I think that would be fun. And so I'm gonna actually start off with the letter U right here. And that is gonna be the scarecrow's face. And then I'm gonna draw a wavy line on the top. And that's gonna be the bottom of the scarecrow's hat. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just erase that line right there, because I'm going to draw my hat right in front of it, so I don't need that line anymore. And I'm going to draw the top of a square right there on top, of that wavy line, and I'm going to connect it. And that is my little straw cap here for my scarecrow. I had a few little lines coming out of it. And I'm going to draw some, looks like little French fry lines coming out of the bottom for hair. The scarecrows have little button eyes. They'll do a little triangle nose, little stitches. He's a cute little scarecrow. Give him some little eyelashes there too. Make him look a little bit more like a person. So scarecrows are supposed to help keep animals out of the garden. They don't always work, but that's the goal. So here's our scarecrow here, and usually they can be pretty rudimentary, or they can be really, really, really detailed. This little guy, he just is basically a shirt on a stick with some straw ticking in him to make him look like he's got a little bit of weight. We're just doing more little French fry lines right here, coming out of the edge of the sleeves, and then we'll have them coming out of the bottom too. That's always fun. Now, if you wanted to draw little pants legs, you could draw little pants legs too. That's fine as well. And we'll draw a little patch here. These poor little scarecrows, their clothes have to hold up under all kinds of weather. Really bright sun, really windy days like we had today, really rainy weather. So their clothes get patched up quite frequently. He's a cute little guy, isn't he? We'll give him some little cheeks too, just because he's not really going to scare anybody. Anybody that comes to this garden is probably going to want to come hang out for a little bit longer because it's such a cute scarecrow. They're going to say, oh, look, he's a friend. Another thing that you might find in a garden probably more so than you would find at a farm. You would see maybe an owl sitting on a fence post near the garden, and that owl is a predator. So any smaller little animals that are maybe thinking that they might find some yummy treats in the garden, if they see that owl, aren't going to stick around. So a lot of people with gardens have statues of owls. So we could draw an owl here on the fence, and we'll go ahead and draw 2 big circles for the eyes right there. See those 2 big circles for the eyes? There we go. We're going to draw a little triangle there for the nose. Do a circle inside of both of those eyes. I'm going to use the letter U here, right on top of the circles. That's going to make his little ears. And we'll do a little U down to finish off his little head. Here's his little body. We just use 2 parentheses or 2 C's, a forward C and a backward C. And then we're going to draw these 2 lines here for the wings. These are his little owl's wings here. Do a little curved line to create the feathers. And then this is his belly. And then obviously we'll get his little feet here on the fence post so we know he's holding on. He's not going to fall off. We could draw a little bit of a tail down here with some little lines. So there's our owl. He's hanging out, checking out what's going on here in the pumpkin patch with us. All right, now you could, if you wanted to make this a daytime picture, draw a sun. You could also draw a moon. So if I draw a circle right here, whoops. If I draw a circle right here, that could be my sun. It could also be my moon, depending on what color I color my sky. I don't have to have that in my sky to make it either a night sky or a day sky. I could tell what time of day it was just by the color of my sky, but that's always fun to have a little extra something in the picture. I'm gonna throw some trees in the background back here, and I'm just gonna make really simple trees. If by using a zigzag line. All right, that wasn't the best zigzag line tree, but I just wanted to give you a really good quick example. I'm gonna draw a couple of other types of trees. My surface that I'm drawing on keeps moving on me when I apply pressure, so trying to draw without bearing down, but then it's really hard for you to see the lines because they're not dark. So I'm probably gonna have to redraw some of these lines in a little bit, but that's okay. But you can also draw some trees that look a little bit like this. This is also a fun tree to draw. It's not a complicated tree. So this is kind of like an oval, and then we just used a really skinny tall triangle to draw the trunk of the tree. So you can add all sorts of really fun details, and I'm gonna add a whole bunch of different types of trees here on this back line. And I think actually I'm gonna draw a little bit of a mountain line too, just to represent the Smoky Mountains. And again, you know, Miss Armstrong, she loves her details. So the more information I can put in this picture, the harder it might be. Actually, the more information I put in this picture, the more hiding places I have for the things I'm gonna draw in here. And I am probably gonna draw, I'll just tell you now, there is gonna be a fish in here. There will be a spoon hidden in here. There will probably be a book hidden in here somewhere. And there will be something related to Georgia, my dog, in here. So it'll either be Georgia hiding in here somewhere, or it will be a paw print of hers hiding in here. I'm gonna go ahead and add more details to this, but I'm going to do it on a fast forward. This is what I want you to just work on this week. You do not have to color it in. I want you to work on a fall scene. You definitely want to do a landscape. You want to have some pumpkins in there. I'm going to throw some more pumpkins back here in this field. You can add a fence line. You can add a scarecrow, an owl. I have a mountain range back here. It's really easy to add those. It's just a really simple zigzag line. We have some trees that we're adding in. The important thing to remember is that we're having a ton of details. And then over here on the right, where I have my big rectangle that I drew, that is where, that's my key. This is my key. This is where I'm going to draw pictures of all of the hidden objects that are here in this page. So your challenge is to hide four things. You want to hide four things. So if I'm hiding a fish, this is what my fish is going to look like. It's not a really complicated drawing. So that's what my fish will look like a little goldfish, cracker fish. And then I might hide a light bulb. Again, another really simple drawing. And a spoon. It's like a little wooden spoon here. And a paw print for sure. A little Georgia paw. All right, so those are four things that you are gonna look for in this picture. I don't have them in there yet, but those are four things